Hey y'all, hey y'all. Can you put a one in the chat if my volume is good? A one in the chat if your girl's volume is palatable. If everything coming along good. So once we get into it, we don't have to be interrupted. Make sure everything is in order. And I want to say thank you, Joy, for becoming a member. It is so good to see you. I'm hoping all is well with you, with your family, your loved ones. Appreciate you so much. Thank you. Thank you kindly. Thank you kindly. We got DT in the building. Peace and blessings to you. We got Cutting Edge in the house. Peace and blessings. Salute, salute, always, always. And we got Sis Laverne in the building. Thank you for sliding through and representing, sis. I sure appreciate you. Thank you. We got DT peeking through. Well, he ain't even got bushes. He done moved the bushes out the way. DT say, I'm here. Thank you so much for your support. Thank you for always checking in with your girl. Appreciate you so much. We got Northern born and Southern raised. Appreciate you. Thank you so much always for you coming through. Hope everybody's having a good day. Come on in. Salaya Binya is in the building. One of my revered mods. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for sliding on through. And here we got the beautiful CC in the building with the support. I like that avatar picture. That looks peaceful and what's the word? Serene. Looks very serene in that picture. Thank you for sliding through as well. Appreciate you. We got the beautiful Phoenix in the building. Thank you for coming through, sis. Peace and blessings to you. And listen, every time I say peace and blessings after listening to Miss Chicago on Miss Yo's panel that time, it hit different. It definitely hits different. So thank you. Oh, good. I'm glad. Your day is wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to permeate some of your time and to absorb a little bit of your day to day. And I just want to start off by prefacing and saying that I know a lot of people are talking about this topic, and I don't like put myself out there to really talk about like celebrity news per se. But this is hard not to discuss and kind of touch on. And I want to just say, I'm sure some of the information that you're going to hear was going to be reverberating and maybe on repeat to a certain extent. However, every content creator has their way of delivering their own content, and you can learn a little bit from everybody, right? Hopefully one of us will say something that the other ones did not say, and all is well. So I've been kind of working on this, and then I saw people going live and they was touching on it. It's a hot topic. It's a lot to be, unpacked here. There's a lot of different opinions, a lot of conversation, so on and so forth. And so I just wanted to make that disclaimer, and I'm going to deliver it the best way that Mr. Kimmy know how, and the only way I know how, in my true Mr. Kimmy style and fashion, right? So we got writers in the building. Thank you so much for coming through and being present from the beginning. I appreciate everybody. And for those new subs that have subscribed to the channel, welcome. I appreciate the support. I appreciate your time. I know it's the most invaluable resource that you have, and I'm thankful it does not go unnoticed. Hold on, I gotta fix something real quick, y'all. Bear with me. Okay. And yes, it is a very hot topic, CC. But I think having variances of opinions, takes. There's always something that people look at slightly differently than other individuals in your own unique way. You just covering it the way you know how, and whatever your take on it is. I don't believe that there is necessarily a right or a wrong on this. I think it's too early to tell in order to just point the finger, just because the one that brought the lawsuit to from its origination to fruition does not mean that that is automatically making the defendant or the defending party guilty, right? And especially not to the degree that the paperwork is being presented. However, because the plaintiff, Derek Dixon, is the only one that really has submitted any type of paperwork, has had retained representation, and they've, advised one way or another to release it. Once it's released to the public, people can read it and interpret it any way that they want to. Again, I want to disclose as well before we get off into the content that I'm not leaning toward one side or the other, particularly per se. I have my opinions, and we're going to go over my opinions, right? And just like everybody else, I got one, just like everybody else got one. So whether it's right, it's wrong, like I said, I think there's a lot of information that will eventually surface, come out, be revealed, unveiled, and then people can, maintain their position, or with evolving facts and evidence coming out as the case goes along, maybe evolve, change, shift, or whatever. But at the end of the day, being a celebrity is got to be tough work, because nothing you do is private, where you will probably have this similar situation happen across the board to people that don't have that kind of notoriety, they don't have that kind of money, they don't have that kind of presence or impact. Things will go very differently. But when you do have all of those different things, guess what? You are basically put in the public of scrutiny at that point, and everybody is going to be voicing, or most people will be voicing, their opinions. So I thought, so shout out to Selena. I saw her go live earlier as I was working on my content, and I noticed that she had the same thoughts in mind, down to the source that I was going to use. Law and crime? It's something like that. Whatever, because she gave the source props. But I was going to read, because that particular video had text of the 46-page lawsuit, right? Actually taken and derived from that lawsuit directly. So I was going to use that as a credible source to kind of go over and show the people. However, I did find another, because I don't want to reverberate and sound so repetitive. I found another source that basically went through the lawsuit with great interpretation, with a great way of summing it all up, but being accurate and not changing or shifting the verbiage of the complaint based off of personal opinion. She was very direct, very accurate, and very on point. And I think it's real easy when things are relatable to where you can understand really what's going on, right? And then you're dealing with a credible source. So I wanted to make sure that we definitely had a credible source, but I also want to give a different perspective. And I'm gonna shift it around a little bit. Shout out to the chat. I'm not egging y'all, but I gotta stay focused, because there's a lot of moving parts of this whole thing, right? So definitely engage in the chat. My mods, you know what to do. No foolishness, but let people speak freely, as long as it's leading and ending with respect. That's all I ask. Everybody can have a difference of opinion, and that's perfectly fine. That's what keeps the world balanced. I don't expect for everybody to be on the same accord. But I want to start and shift off with a man's opinion that looks like Tyler Perry. And I mean, as far as skin color goes, origin goes, maybe some, background because of the color of his skin. And I wanted his personal opinion and his perspective to come, because a lot of people actually feel this way. They feel like Tyler Perry has been set up, like this gentleman planned this, concocted this. This was an elaborate scheme in order to come up, to make money, or whatever I'm sure that's the desired outcome, seeing as though he's suing for $260 million. That's with an M, okay? That's with several zeros, not just six. So we're talking about into the 9 digits, right? And so, without further ado, we are going to go ahead and start off the content. All right, y'all.
To see Tyler Perry being sued for sexual assault by the nigga Derek off the Oval. I've read these messages, I've reread these messages, I've proofread these messages. I read the messages in 3 and 4D. All I saw was 2 homegirls talking. Amen. First thing first, Tyler Perry did not open himself up to any of these allegations. If he made any passes, any remarks, they were all subtle. They were all blurred lines and gray areas. Why? Because Tyler, a billionaire. You think he knew to this? He true to this. Derek knew to this. Derek never been in this game before. He don't understand that Tyler understand what position he's in. And he tried to help you, Derek, regardless of his sexual preference. He tried to help you as a person. But what you did, Derek, try to target the man's sexuality for monetary gain. That's fucked up. I get everybody saying, here come the smear campaign. Because you know Tyler just had a successful movie on Netflix. Now they gotta try to tear the black man down. This campaign to tear the black man down began in 2019. It took Derek 6 years to formulate convincing evidence of Tyler Perry's inappropriate sexual behavior.
And I want to just add to that, not that I'm feeling one way or the other, but I saw the movie, the newest movie that Tyler Perry has produced, and that's Straw. And in 2 weeks or 2 weekends, it has amassed the value of $50 million worth of support. And so now this lawsuit came out on the 13th. It was released on the 13th. We are on the 18th, right? So we're looking right dab smack in the middle of the release of his newest production and movie. And no matter what the opinions of it is for people are tuning in, people are watching, people are checking for it, right? So I just wanted to add that to his context of saying that it took this man 6 years. It took what it took, but then it could be defended on both sides. He could have a very plausible and very effective reasoning based off of his team, why it took that long. All of these different circumstances contributed, the dynamics, everything evolving, including the relationship, the roles in the movies. And if I'm not mistaken, I think he actually, in the lawsuit, confessed or made the statement that he was hesitant to reject Tyler Perry, and this is all alleged, fair use is in effect, because of the fact that his roles, he needed to make money, and because his roles and his position in Tyler Perry's production company had leverage, it used his position and his acting as leverage. He felt that, you know, he had to really be meticulous and he had to be very careful on how he responded, when he responded. And then you've got, of course, on the other side, Tyler Perry and his team saying, you know what, when I say team, I mean legal counsel and representation. His team is saying, yo, he's scamming. This is not what it, you know, what he says it is. And but now I will say that, and I'm gonna keep saying this, depending, AI is so good that I don't know how they're going to be able, and I'm sure that they will be at some point, especially in such a high profile case, be able to determine whether those text messages are authentic, are authenticated or not, right? You'll be able to decide that. But if they are by chance authentic, then guess what? It's going to be a problem.
I ain't see nothing. I don't care that a fully clothed man took a picture by a boat and called himself a stud. That's not enough. That's not worth $260 million, Derek. Now you tried it. You tried to play possum and you tried to attract the bullshit. But not knowing Tyler wasn't gone. Then think about this, y'all. What kind of person gonna accept a role in the movie after being sexually harassed? If you really was sexually harassed, you took not only the movie role in 2019, but you took the Oval movie role too. So make that make sense. If y'all paying attention, this is the shittiest example of a money grab attempt. Because dog, you look like you was with it. If you grin, you in. You ever heard that saying? And nigga, you was digitally grinning.
If you grin, you in. That's the consensus of a lot of people, right? So we have to definitely take into account and consider all of the facts and stuff that's involved. And the next clip that I'm going to show is going to be a small one or a short one with another person's perspective. And I don't know if people are aware. I'm sure by this point, a lot of people are aware that Christian Keys, where he did a live or a video where he did not name the billionaire, but now, of course, that is being revisited due to the fact that, guess what? A lot of similarities between that situation and then the current situation with Derek Dixon is making people revisit that entire situation. And one thing I can say is that this brother was definitely shook up. He was definitely shook up. So I want to take the opportunity. I'm going to actually show that one. I got to pull it up. Give me just a second, y'all, because I didn't cue it into my StreamYard. But I decided to play it because I want you to see the emotion that is attached to his words.
Promise you this. I will promise you this. As an executive on the show, I'm grateful for this person for showing me how not to be. When you're the boss, how not to be. You don't sexually harass your employees. You don't pressure them, bully them, try to intimidate them into what you want. I am grateful for that lesson. I'm glad that God sat back, because not only was he watching to see if I was the person that he thought he had made, but he was letting me see who I am. And I'm grateful for it, because it let me know, and that gave me a lot of my bravery.
So from the message that he sent, it sounds as if it revealed to him his strength, because he was able to resist and not, give up what they call his man card. Shout out to Terrence Howard for coining that phrase. Definitely. I did too. Hey, Dimple D, peace and blessings. Hold on. The chat was moving fast. I believe Christian, when he first came, you can't help but just look at the emotion that's attached to it. That just does not scream clout chaser. That just does not scream that I just want attention or I want money. That screams trauma. That screams pain. That screams, to me, a lot of history, as far as that probably helped change the trajectory in his life at this point in his life. And as a man, I can't imagine what that looks like. I can't imagine what that feels like and what it entails, because you risk in such a world of acting, of celebrity, of the Hollywood industry, to stand up and to make public that's not how you roll. You're going to get some pushback. You're risking becoming blackballed, being ostracized, your name being smeared, even if they have to lie upon you, just because you are not coexisting in the same fashion as those that are signing your paychecks. So if you know, right? So I definitely see a lot of gaslighting in this industry. I see a lot of games being played. I see a lot of plays being administered in this industry. And you got this man. Now I'm with a lot of the people that I've been hearing on the topic when it comes to Derek Dixon. First of all, the amount that he's suing for. Now, nobody can really put a price on pain, on an individual's pain, but what I will say is that what they say that the punishment has to fit the crime, right? And until things come out and until they develop into a point where there can be a judgment placed off of fairness and off of the facts and the evidence being presented throughout this, because let me tell you, the Derek Dixon's team is going to fight for his best interests, and you already know that Tyler Perry's team is going to fight for his, not just his best interest, but his name, his legacy, right? His, whatever he's leaving to the next generation, his name and his business, his company, the people that he's helped, the people that he has uplifted, that he's been able to employ. We can't just dismiss that and say that he is a man of bad character, because he has been able to do and has chosen to do what a lot of people in his position has not. And I'm not going to say the name, but I will say it's probably revered as the most famous basketball player. As much money as he's been worth for over 40 years, he has not really given back to his community, and has been known to actually be more of a detriment to his community for his personal profit by investing in the prison system, right? Who occupies most of the prison system. So I just wanted to make that comparison, and you can't take away what the contributions and the good aspects just because somebody is being accused of something. True or not, whether they have text messages or not, whatever the evidence is, like the brother in the first video stated, according to him being a masculine man, allegedly, I assume that it sounded like two women talking, right? So background matters. Now, I don't have a lot of information on the background to the point where I can speak with such certainty, but definitely when it comes to Derek Dixon, I don't want to get the name wrong. Much respect to both of their names. I definitely have heard and have not been able to verify that he has had a past when it comes to being touched on or being misappropriately handled, right? For lack of a better word. So I just wanted to throw that in. And then I thought I heard Selena speak on Tyler Perry's upbringing, being very church oriented, being close to his mom, whatever the case may be. I'm just kind of reverberating what I heard, but I personally don't know a lot of Tyler Perry's background. I started hearing about him and his journey from the point of him being homeless and living in his car up until now. So I can't really speak on that. But however, let's get off into, let's do one more video. I want to do, it's a short one, with this woman and her perspective. And she was saying how she spoke on when Christian Keys said it, and it was an unnamed person that he was speaking on, unnamed billionaire that he was speaking on. She spoke on it. She said it was one or two people. It was either Tyler Perry in her opinion, or it was TD Jakes. Let her tell her story.
All them text messages in Medea voice. But remember when Christian Keys came out with that video? Hold on. This video, when he said he was essayed by a powerful man in Hollywood. Do y'all remember that video I made? I can't find it, but if y'all can find it, tag me in it. But it's a video that I made when I said it was either Medea or TD Jakes. Allegedly to both of them. But if that track, the way that these court documents are worded, Tyler Perry has been using his power and influence to molest, abuse, and SA impressionable and vulnerable employees and actors who look to him for guidance and mentorship while pursuing their dreams. First of all, this is a tale as old as time. This is like, what do they call it? Black couch casting or whatever, casting couch. Anyway, notice the S's, employees and actors. They are opening up the door for more people to come forward. It might not go how, I don't know. It might be over for your boy. I don't know. I'm just saying. That's what it looked like to me. And it definitely sounds like allegedly this is exactly who Christian Keys was talking about. But I don't.
So let's talk about this for a minute. Because the reason why I wanted to show her clip was because of the grammar. And like she said, the S's being plural put at the end of the statements. Now we're looking at Diddy's situation, even though it's not getting a lot of the exposure it was getting initially at the beginning, it is still ongoing. It is still affecting a lot of people's lives, and it is still has a lot of similarities to what's going on now, to the situation with Shannon Sharpe. Though I don't, if those text messages between him and that young lady were authenticated and are authentic, then I would say he wasn't really using the right head, okay, pun intended, to think with and to remember who he is, and that when you are a man of status or a woman of such status, of hierarchy and of wealth, you're going to be a target. You have to be a lot more aware and use a lot more discretion about people you allow themselves to attach themselves to you, especially when you're not dealing with people of the same ilk, on the same level, right? You listen, it's a real thing, and it is what it is. There is a lot of different cases with men of color that seem to be going through very similar circumstances, okay? And I can't help but notice that especially like in Shannon Sharpe, and I'm sure I know that there are more examples, but that is what comes to the forefront of my mind. And Tyler Perry, that these people are other than people that look like them. So let me tell you something. One thing that I know and I believe about this industry is that everything on the surface is not as it seems. So you can say that Kanye West, which is another example, was or has been classified as a $1 billion man with a B, right? At the same time, he marries a woman of a different ilk, of a different culture, different nationality, background. And guess what? That money, once they procreated, got married, established a family in the eyes of the law together, guess what? That money, a lot of that money is going back to her, which means it's going back to their community. Okay? You have to look. They say there's a saying that if you want to know where you're going, you have to know where you've been. If you want to know what the future is going to look like, then you need to reflect a lot on the past. There is a lot of truth in that. You can't just ignore the pattern, because guess what? If it works the first 100 times, they're going to use it the 101st time. They're going to use it the 300th time. It is going to be utilized as many times as it works for them. And then it's going to have to not work several times for them to switch up and change. So these things you just can't overlook and act as if they don't exist, right? So I definitely just wanted to say, guess what? Oh, Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby's another one. Lord, that was the first one of the chain, it seems, of events. You got R. Kelly, even though there are some differences, but what will happen is whatever your weakness is, it will get brought to the forefront, it will be preyed upon, and it will be exploited if somebody is using you as a come up. If they're using you to regenerate or to reallocate that wealth on that paycheck or those paychecks that they have signed in your name, a lot of them don't never intend for it to stay in your community, which means your family. which means your people that look like you. We need to definitely understand, understand, and overstand that this is a real thing, and that back in the day where there were so many other issues and circumstances that were considered conspiracy theories, we at this point with this particular situation, you can't just walk past that and ignore it and act as if it does not exist. Okay, we have to wake up. We have to really understand that we are in a spiritual war, and that God's chosen people are going to be targeted. Now, I'm not saying, and nor do I know, I can identify a lot of God's chosen people when I come in contact with them. But I'm saying that in the breadth and in the width of the conversation, to say that we just have to understand that the weapons of this world are not carnal. We can't see them with the actual and legitimate eye, that we have to understand it through the spirit. You have to know thyself. You have to know God in thyself. You have to know God separately as well as synonymously. You have to understand and have clarity of where we are and what weapons are required in order to fight the battles. Now, you also hit one of his homeboys, one of his closest friends, TD Jakes. He can't even come to his defense because he's fighting for his own life. Okay. I don't even want to go off into that because I don't even want to know about that. I really don't. If it come out, it come out. When it comes out, it will come out. But right now, I chose to put focus and accentuation on this particular topic because at this point, it looks like a playbook is being run. Whether Tyler Perry is innocent, whether the truth is somewhere in the middle and both of them are wrong and right, or whether he's totally guilty. The fact of the matter is you can't be accused of something in a situation that you choose not to put yourself into. It's just not going to happen. If you're not present, if you're not there, and if you're not a participant, people will know. Even if they lie on you, the truth will come out and it will be indisputed at some point, generally. Right? Got to put that word out there. Generally speaking, it will be. So this next video I'm going to show is the one where I mentioned at the beginning of the live stream, where the entire 46-page case that has been filed is available. And I found this woman to be I didn't read the whole 46, but I read half. Okay, I've been spending some time on this because I wanted to speak on it, but I can't speak on something I don't know. So I definitely wanted to do some research and definitely look off into it and not speak off the cuff, because I don't want to get caught out there acting like I'm speaking on something I don't know about. But she definitely put it into relative terms and she made it plain. And I want to share this. So we may not go through the whole thing, but then again, it just depends on how the conversation is going. And I also, at some point, I want to drop the link too for any of those that want to chime in and give their perspective or any information they may be privy to that I may have not gotten correct or didn't speak on that might be prevalent to the conversation. So with that, y'all, let's go.
A lawyer, but an actor named Derek Dixon, who played the role of Dale on the BET series The Oval, recently filed a lawsuit against Tyler Perry, and I read all 46 pages of the complaint. So let me tell you why Derek Dixon is suing Tyler Perry for $260 million. Okay? And it really comes down to what the lawsuit says was Tyler Perry promising Derek creative opportunities, such as getting a role in a show or him promising to make a show Derek created, but it would require Derek having to deal with the harassment, assault, battery, and professional retaliation from Tyler Perry. The lawsuit starts with how Derek first met Tyler Perry, which was in 2019 at an event at Tyler Perry Studios. At the time, Derek was working for an event company that Tyler used for his events, and on the day of this event, Derek says Tyler, quote, picked him out of a crowd of employees and began asking him about his employment status and if he wanted to be an actor. At the end of the party, Tyler insisted that him and Derek exchange phone numbers, and almost immediately the two began texting. According to the suit, in some of these text messages, Tyler would be asking Derek about his dreams and aspirations, as well as his interest in writing and acting. And then one day, the lawsuit says that Tyler asked Derek to send him an acting audition over the phone, but Derek tells him he's at a Halloween party. So Tyler replied, asking to see pictures of Derek in his costume. Derek sends the pictures, and then the lawsuit says that Tyler responded saying, quote, "I was gonna say, your cowboy needs a sugar daddy."
Listen. Okay, so let me come up. Hold on. Wait a minute, y'all. I want to say this, right? No matter what it looks like on paper or on text or, in writing, basically, if it's authenticated, it's not going to look good either way, right? For neither one of them. And some people will argue and say, well, Derek Dixon waited 6 years to come out and actually file a lawsuit. And how, even though Tyler Perry comes out with productions all the time and pretty regularly, it just seemed the timing was super coincidental that it's been a minute. And then during the first release of this newest production, The Straw, now all of a sudden, like I said, on the 13th, this lawsuit was filed. So evidently you had these text messages prior. They have been ongoing. This was at the beginning, according to the line and the timing of the testimony. So it pauses the question, why you wait so long? And why is it that 2 roles later, you knew what this man wanted? So let's call it what it is. Did you basically sell yourself for movie roles or for the roles that you ended up being offered and taking? Come on now, we got to call it down the middle on this. I don't advocate or defend one or the other. I don't know neither one of them. As I stated, not personally and not as far as statistically going about their past and all of that. Up until this case, I really didn't know anything about neither one of them and their past, their upbringing. But that's one of the first questions that I ask when something like this comes up, because there has to be some trauma. There has to be some type of a disconnect. There has to be something missing for people not to be able to utilize not just their discernment, but to act upon that discernment. You can have the gift of discernment and develop that muscle all day long. However, if you don't utilize the information, the knowledge, and the wisdom that is being imparted to you, what difference does it make? What difference does it make if you tend to go, and usually people that go against their discernment are looking at it from a carnal position. They're looking at the short-term outcomes or desired outcomes. So I just wanted to throw that in there. Let's continue, y'all. Shout out to the chat. Hey, Selena. Great live earlier. Appreciate you, babe. We got Brooklyn Lady Ellie in the house. Thank you so much for coming through. I just want to make sure I don't miss nobody. We got Miss Collins. Miss Collins with that hand palm on the face kills me. I wish I'd have seen it when you put it up there. I didn't know. I'd probably start laughing. We got, okay, I said hi to CC. And if there's anybody that I missed, charge it to my head and not my heart. Let's roll with the content.
"You look great. You're just lacking costume parts. Sorry, don't want to offend." Derek replies to this message saying, "Not at all. It's so true. Half-assed costume." And then Tyler Perry responds saying, "What's true? Cowboy needs a sugar daddy." According to the lawsuit, this comment from Tyler Perry was him implying that he wanted to be Derek's sugar daddy. Now, shortly after this interaction, the lawsuit says that Tyler Perry held another event at his house and specifically requested for Derek to work the event, which meant he had to be flown from LA to Atlanta to be there. Now, following that event, the lawsuit says communications between the two of them continued, and during one text exchange, Tyler told Derek he would love to find him a job and change his life. He went on to say, quote, "Be careful hanging around me. I cause dreamers to dream big."
Okay. So, listen, y'all, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I'm trying. I'm really trying. But common sense does not elude me. It does not escape me. If you know that somebody is coming on to you, they're interested in you, you're going to know it. Attraction, whether it's through text messages, whether it's in person, whether it's over the phone, he was going to make his interest known. I would have questioned it if he'd have picked me out as an employee at his event that had no prior acting experience, though he did have some acting education. He got a degree in drama, to my understanding, but no prior experience, no long profile, or what do they call it, resume, acting resume, right? Or calling card, whatever they call it in Hollywood. I'm gonna say Hollywood. Lord have mercy, help me. Okay, so with that being said, you done picked up on this man being interested in you. I would have asked why right off the rip. Why are you interested in me? And you picked me out of all of these people and all of these employees because you know of a man of his stature and of billionaire status is going to throw major events. None of them are going to seem small, but out of all of the employees, you selected me. So that's the first. Even if I don't ask it out loud, I'm going to store it in my memory bank. But then you start texting me about topics that really are intertwined in what you think that I want, which is a role, an opportunity to act, to be under your umbrella, no pause, right? To basically get the opportunities that I have been grooming myself or preparing myself for all this time. And why me? Why not me, but why me? It would be that's just me though. May not be everybody else, right? Not saying that he lacks self-esteem or, anything of that nature, but these are just, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's discernment. I don't know if it's intuition. I don't know if it's just logical common sense. Not really sure. But when you got a man of that stature that can have anybody at his fingertips in a snap of a finger, why would you choose me? There is a why. Shout out to Laverne for throwing that out there and changing the trajectory of how I think about a lot of things, because everything has a why. Everything, there is an answer to a why. And that should be one of the first questions that you ask, right? What did Brooklyn Ellie say? Stardom, Miss Kimmy, and you're not them. Yeah, that's what I'm talking. Listen, come on now. Come on. I know I got some smart folk up in my tribe and in my circle. Let's go. Let's go. Because listen, from and you talking about 6 years of all of this, but then I'm gonna flip it and I'm gonna say that Tyler Perry wasn't no better. Because if somebody is striking your interest and he only has a certain, in your mind, level of value to bring, then why are you pursuing them so hard? Why are you trying to be so smooth with it? And then the terminology in the text messages leave a lot of ambiguity, leave a lot of open for interpretation. You can't just pin, not like Shannon Sharp, Lord have mercy, free Shannon Sharp, right? In all aspects, but his text messages, he left nothing to the imagination, right? So you got Tyler Perry, and if you're looking at it through the eyes through the court of law, then guess what? Neither one of them are looking good at this point. So you sold for $260 million. You'd have made money off of the man's production. And because he made the decision to do what he did, it may not have been in the right fashion, but it's his company in order for him to be able to make those types of decisions. And now you feel you ought to be compensated for something that you participated largely in. That's just my personal opinion. Let's go. I better be quiet.
I caused them to not only believe, but do. Then he says, you're an artist. You have to be fulfilled. Nothing else will suffice. The lawsuit says after that text exchange, Derek received an offer to play the part of a character named Dale in Tyler's TV series Ruthless. So Derek does the role, and about 1 month after filming that show, the suit says that Tyler Perry bought Derek a car because he, quote, hated Derek's Jeep.
I don't know of any grown man that cares about what another grown man drives. I don't personally know of any grown man that cares about what another person drives. Now, all of this is alleged. This is in the paperwork for the lawsuit that has been filed. So this is basically Derek Dixon's story. Has nothing, we haven't really heard, at least up until this moment, a definitive response from Tyler Perry to defend, to refute, or deny any of these allegations. But I'm just saying, speaking from my position as a seasoned aged woman, in all my days, I ain't never seen one grown man that employed another grown man and care what he drove. He would sign his paycheck and then he would move along. Hey, Takara, yes. So I made that disclaimer at the beginning of the video. Exactly. So I'm sure it's going to go through an authentication process. We will see. We're speaking from an alleged point of view based off of the information that is being pretty much regurgitated through the lawsuit. So I don't know how long, and that brings up the question too, that I'm not sure how long all of this has been evolving to the point where the lawsuit was actually filed. But I would assume, because they know that this is going to be a high profile case, that they do not like, especially the attorneys, as well as the defendant, the plaintiff, are not going to want to put their reputations on the line for something that's not authenticated. But then again, the rabbit hole does go deep. So again, you know what? It's a matter of perspective on your opinion, personal experiences that form your opinion, but this is all alleged. So I just wanted to reiterate that point. But I just wanted to say, yeah, I ain't never seen a grown man that cared what another grown man drove to the point where he bought him a brand new vehicle, unless there was some other type of attachment. And then the thing is too, is that this man accepted that vehicle. He accepted it, okay, along with the monies. And this was by far, let's just bring this out too, this was his second role. So the first role that he was offered was after they met. They had already been exchanging information, text messages, interacting with one another, sending pictures. At least we see that Tyler Perry allegedly sent a picture to Derek Dixon, with some statements attached to it. But I'm just going to tell you, I ain't never seen it. Yeah, this was his second role. The Oval was the second one. The first one, I can't remember what the name of it was. It eludes me. I'll get it. But yes, this is his second. Let's go, y'all.
So more calls, conversations, and events happened. And according to Derek, the conversations with Tyler Perry started to get strange. The suit says in one text, Tyler said, quote, "I can't tell you the last time I pumped gas or went to the supermarket or flew commercial or packed a bag or had good mex. It was before I was rich." Derek says he thought the messages were strange coming from Tyler, but he decided to downplay them in hopes that he would be able to showcase his acting and writing talents off to Tyler.
Okay, so that just confirms what was said. So, okay, the first was a role on Ruthless. So his first role was on Ruthless and his second was on The Oval. He became more mainstream on The Oval because I want to say their familiarity between one another had escalated and grown. That's just my assumption. But again, this is all alleged. So definitely, as she just said,
Now, a few months after that text exchange, Tyler Perry invited Derek to his house.
so you got all of these different interactions going on over a certain timeline and a certain period of time, and he's not complaining. What he's doing is he's accepting whatever trinkets, whatever roles, whatever he has been extending to him during this time. I haven't heard of him turning anything down. And to me, that would be a red flag. So when did he find out that it was an issue? Because you gave him the silent treatment for a few months, and then when he came back, allegedly, he offered him the role. So they went through a 5-month span where they didn't speak, or he ignored Tyler Perry, according to his statement. And then when Tyler Perry counteracted because he wasn't getting a response with the role on Ruthless, then he responds, and not only responds, but he accepts the role. So yeah, it's just, the more you that is being revealed, the more that side eye kind of perking up for me. But that's just me. Let's go.
Derek goes over, they have some drinks, and the conversation was overall pretty friendly. However, according to the lawsuit, at the end of the night, Tyler Perry invited Derek to stay over since they had been drinking, and Derek goes to a guest bedroom where he strips down to his underwear because he didn't have pajamas and gets in the bed to go to sleep. According to the lawsuit, while Derek was laying in the bed, Tyler Perry came and slipped in behind him and started rubbing Derek's inner thigh. The suit says Derek jumped out of the bed and told Tyler that he wasn't trying to do that, but Tyler allegedly ignored him and instead told him to turn around so Tyler could see him in his underwear. And while Derek was telling Tyler he didn't want to do anything, he was also trying not to insult Tyler since Tyler was, quote, dangling his career in front of him. Now, this lawsuit doesn't say how that night ended, but it goes on to say that Derek would frequently tell Tyler that he didn't want to do anything with him, but Tyler would respond by prying into his life. As an example, the lawsuit includes a text message in which Tyler says to Derek, quote, "I would hope that you would let someone hold you and make love to you. You are missing the best years of your life, my friend. Trust me. I hope you get past that block in your mind soon." And according to Derek and this lawsuit, that text was Tyler implying that Derek would hopefully get past the block in his mind and let Tyler make love to him.
And that's alleged. That is not my words. If fair use is in effect, that is the interpretation of the young lady that claims that she read the 46-page lawsuit herself, right? So the first alleged assault was in January of 2020. Followed, y'all, by repeated incidents on set and cash trips. I'm going to repeat that. In 2020, January 2020, that was when the first alleged assault took place, according to Derek Dixon. But it was followed also by repeated incidents on set and cash trips. Okay, now you're talking about a man, because we're going to get off into it, that it went from text messages to actual physical outside of this incident that she spoke on, that he claims where Tyler Perry got in the bed and rubbed on his inner thigh and all that. But it escalates from there, and you still work for this man. At what point do we stop sympathizing with you? Because if you tolerated it, why shouldn't we tolerate it for you? That's just my question. Let's go.
As a response to that text, Derek said, quote, "Well, it's not this person, but yes, I want that too. I'm working on it. Therapy is helping." According to the suit, as time went on, Tyler continued calling and texting Derek, and at first he wasn't answering until Tyler offered him a role in a new show called The Oval. The suit says that during his time filming The Oval, Tyler Perry's advances and harassment towards Derek only continued. There's one example in which Tyler allegedly told Derek, quote, "I give and give and give, and no one ever gives me what I want or what I need," which the suit says was Tyler Perry implying that Derek was not giving him what he wanted. And in another example, the lawsuit says that Tyler told Derek that he was a top and he preferred a man that was already in a relationship so that Tyler wouldn't have to deal with the emotional aspect of the person, just the physical. Once filming for The Oval began and Derek got the scripts for his character, he noted that at the end of the season, his character was written to be shot 4 times. Derek asked Tyler about this, and Tyler told him if he does a good job, his character may not die.
which that wouldn't have been a concern had he not accepted the role. And the reason I say that is because if to me, I would have seen that as a red flag. Why are you killing me off after one season? Am I not a good enough actor? I'm not bringing enough ratings. Because remember he had a previous role, so Tyler Perry had an opportunity to showcase for Tyler Perry and show his gifts, show his ability or lack thereof. So I would have had a hardcore conversation if it were me with him by saying, well, why would that even be scripted into the manuscript in the first place unless there's some contingencies that are not being discussed, or you don't find that much value and you're not certain of the value that I am bringing to your production company. But that's just me. Let's go, y'all.
The lawsuit says Derek understood to mean that his job security and role on this show was dependent upon his relationship with Tyler Perry and if he did or did not entertain Tyler's advances. During the time all of this is happening, the lawsuit says that Derek witnessed Tyler Perry killing off other characters of the show when the actors of those characters got on his bad side. So according to the lawsuit, Derek would accept invitations to Tyler's house and other harassing comments and messages, all in an effort to keep his job and for his character not to be killed off. There's more messages and more conversations referenced, and in particular, there's one around April of 2020, which is around the time filming for The Oval was put on hold because of COVID. And during this conversation, Tyler allegedly told Derek he imagined him prancing around in a cowboy outfit and Tyler doing things he couldn't talk about because they were so wrong. During this COVID period, the lawsuit says that Tyler would also send alcohol to Derek's house and then get on the phone with him and rant about his frustration of not getting some of the explicit things that he wanted. But the lawsuit says that Tyler Perry also told Derek not to tell other castmates about their newfound friendship.
Like that's not a red flag? I'm just asking. Is that a red flag? My bad, y'all. I didn't mean to do that. Is that not a red flag? Listen, I don't know how many flags need to be waved. So are you more interested in your coming up, in your financial success, in making the impact that your dreams pursue? What is it that is keeping you tolerating intolerable behavior, in your opinion, to the tune of $260 million? Okay? I mean, listen, I don't know if it's just me, y'all. I really don't. But when you're getting all of this transparency, no matter how he's wording it, you can read in between the lines. In my opinion, we living in a subliminal age. When it comes to social media, subliminals is king. People they can get away with being inconspicuous or unclear as to who they're talking about. But I mean, you give enough certain information out and you disclose enough facts, then guess what? People can figure out who you're speaking on. But Tyler Perry seemed to be very good at this if, in fact, the text messages are authentic and they are real. And I'm speaking from that place because I would just hope and pray that anybody going to sue somebody where their money is long like Tyler Perry, that they got their ducks in a row and their shit is in order. And I would also venture to say that because it took them 6 years to pursue this entire situation, file this lawsuit, that he was wanting to be very certain that he was going to win. And if not to the tune of $260 million, he would come away with something that would fatten his pockets enough to where he wouldn't have to worry about nothing anymore. And what the first person that comes to mind is Cassie. And that's all I'm going to say. Let's go.
In one text about this, Tyler says, quote, "Listen to me. If you let the cast know that you and I have a new friendship, then you are opening yourself up to a lot of questions and foolishness. You want them to know that you are there because of your talent and not because we have a friendship or because Tony got me to give you this job. Tony was the owner of the events company that Derek used to work for, and he's also a close friend of Tyler Perry's. You earn your spot like everyone else. Don't give people an opportunity to play you small or they will. That might be a word. He goes on to say, because when we go back to work, I'm not going to know you. I don't have any friends that work for me, my friend. Professionalism is key. Derek replies saying, you're totally right. That makes total sense. Don't want to give anyone that opportunity because work is work. And then around August of 2020, when filming for the show picked back up, lawsuit says that Tyler Perry texted Derek about 2 cast members who had pissed him off and how he was now thinking about killing them off on the show.
Why would he text him that? We're going to assume that those texts, again, are authentic for the sake of context and conversation. Why, if it's true, why would he send him that? Fear and instilling fear is the enemy's #1 tactic. If they can scare you, it makes their job just that much easier. That's all I'm going to say about that. Nothing else is needed. Exactly. A warning. Boom. Come on, Brooklyn lady Ellie. You own it. Let's go.
In this text, Tyler writes, quote, but I swear to you, I know how to fix this ish. I love killing a MFer in a show that no one expects. He goes on to say, think about that last episode. They are all shot at. We don't know who lives. Derek replies, I'm scared. They should be too. And then Tyler replies, nope, they're not. They are stupid to think that. So stupid. And then he goes on to say, I'm going to have a come to Jesus moment with them. Derek alleges that Tyler Perry made these statements to him to instill fear in him.
Why would you throw Jesus' name up in that foolishness? Last time I checked, that's called blasphemy. But I digress.
Letting him know that if he didn't engage with Tyler Perry's advancements and harassment, he too could be killed off. Now, since Derek had aspirations of being a writer as well as an actor, he shared a pilot he had written with Tyler Perry, and Tyler responded talking about how good it was and that he had an interest in filming it. According to Derek, Tyler used this promise of filming Derek's show as further motivation to get him to do what he wanted, including dealing with Tyler's harassing comments and behavior.
Okay, so this is in his lawsuit. This is in his paperwork. In his paperwork, he said, or in his filing, he said, I did it in order to secure my position with this, I don't know, series. I don't know if it was it had to be a series because he was on it regularly. I haven't seen it. Never even heard of it, to be honest. I stopped watching Tyler Perry. I didn't even know Straw was produced by Tyler Perry before somebody had recommended to me, and I just pushed play, or else I probably wouldn't have watched that either. I got my own personal reasons for that, not taking away the contribution from anything that he's done for his community, for his people, for the economy of where he lives, and otherwise, you know, I just wanted to say that. But why in the world, why would you acquiesce to that when you know that he's using a fear tactic, unless there was a price that he knew that you would pay? Why he kept pursuing, why he kept progressing toward the bottom line and hanging in there and upping the ante when there was a lack of response. According to this paperwork, he went radio silent for 5 months, and then Tyler Perry, as soon as he offered him a role on Oval, all of a sudden the communication picked back up and he signed the contract. I'm just saying.
As an example, the lawsuit includes a text exchange where Tyler Perry expressed some jealousy of seeing Derek with another man, and then later referenced Derek getting thick again in this same message. The text reads, quote, why did that photo make me jealous? You two together. Derek says, I don't know, it's just Brad. He just wanted to go on a quick walk to get his steps in, and now I'm walking to Chipotle by myself. Tyler responds, thick Derek, get that Chipotle? And then Derek replies, ha ha ha, can you tell from the photo? Tyler says, no, I can only from your jeans, to which Derek replies, that's how I measure too. If I'm not filling them out, I'm not working hard enough. And
he gave him an explanation For somebody that's not invested into a relationship and it's just a working arrangement, I would never sit back and explain why I was in the presence of somebody else to you because you said it irritated your spirit or you were jealous. I'm just saying, look, I got to say what I got to say. I'm sorry if I keep stopping it, but there is just, the red flags are all over the place. And it's just irritating me because at some point, neither one of them are using logic. Neither one of them are speaking of from a place of longevity. Okay, they're both seem like they're thinking. You got Derek Dixon seems like he's thinking allegedly of his financial status, of his financial security, as this is a come up. And then you got Tyler Perry making sure that he keeps his name intact, so he's got to be careful with his wording. But his carnal desire, again, if these texts are authentic and authenticated, he is sitting back like, okay, well, I'm still interested at the end of the day, to the point where I'm going to document through text messages how I feel about him, whether it's ambiguous, whether it's subjective or not. So we have to definitely just keep those things in mind, because again, this is a 6-year timeline, y'all.
Then, in what the lawsuit describes as another harassing text message, Tyler tells Derek, quote, "I feel sorry for the person that you choose. And what I mean by that is, you're so beautiful. When you finally are able to unlock your mind, you're going to make that person crazy." Now, getting back to the shooting of The Oval, the lawsuit says that on the last day of filming the show, Tyler Perry invited Derek to his trailer for drinks, and once inside, Tyler asked him, quote, "Are you attracted to me?" Derek tells him that he isn't looking for anything intimate, but the suit says that Tyler continued making comments about how good Derek was looking and how he was wasting his looks by not being free and being intimate. According to the lawsuit, when Derek eventually got up to leave Tyler's trailer, Tyler pinned him against the wall and began groping him aggressively. The suit says when Derek didn't reciprocate any of the advances, Tyler allegedly told him he was drunk and asked him to leave. But
okay, so the only thing I want to say here is we gonna see if he went back, if he continued to work for him, if he continued to have any type of correspondence and relationship with him after he felt so assaulted to the point where he feels comfortable with filing a $260 million lawsuit. Just because he got it doesn't mean that it's yours. I agree. Return of Mr. Oates, salute and blessings to you. Thank you for coming through. If you don't like the devil's game, stop playing in his yard. Stop participating. It was well said. Bingo.
according to the lawsuit, the harassing calls, texts, and interactions didn't stop there. The lawsuit says Tyler Perry invited the cast of The Oval on a trip to the Bahamas, and while Derek wanted to decline the offer, Derek knew declining the invitation could result in him getting erased off the show. So he agrees to go, and while on the trip, the suit says that after a party one night, Tyler Perry grabbed and groped Derek to the point that Derek was terrified and could barely sleep. There's also a text from this trip that's included in the lawsuit, and in this text, Tyler Perry sends Derek a picture of him in some swim trunks and standing next to a jet ski. Derek replies to the picture saying, "Nice picture," with 2 exclamation points, and then says, "Yeah, the water does look calm." And then Tyler replies to this saying, "Nice picture," with 4 question marks, and then Derek replies in all caps, "Great, amazing, awesome picture," with 3 exclamation points. Tyler replies again, "You don't see that stud in that, quote, nice picture? Rude." Derek says, "LOL, yes, that's a stud." According to the lawsuit, this continued pattern of harassment from Tyler Perry made Derek so stressed out that he eventually went to go see a doctor and was giving an antidepressant to deal with what was happening. But according to the lawsuit, Tyler Perry's propositions and harassment continued into 2021, including in a text message where Derek said, quote, "I know I need to smell the roses more." Tyler replies, "You are the rose, but you are so blocked that you refuse to be smelt or opened." The lawsuit references other alleged comments made by Tyler Perry, including asking Derek things like, "What's it going to take for you to have guiltless intimacy? Have you found that yet in therapy?" And then at another time saying, No straight man would be going on walks with you or cooking dinner for you unless they wanted to F you.
Okay, so that's a lot to unpack. Let me start off by saying, why does Tyler Perry know about your medical history, whether you're in therapy, whether you are taking medications? Well, maybe he didn't know about the medications part until the lawsuit came out, because that also surfaced and was entered into the lawsuit, that he became so stressed out that instead of saying no, or I'm done, or no thank you, he decided to maintain his current relationship with Tyler Perry, allegedly, then go to the doctor and get antidepressants and other medications in order to cope with the relationship and the dynamics thereof. Now, stop me when what I say is not a red flag. Put a 1 in the chat, say it in the chat, correct me with respect. I want to know, because I could be off and I'm not a man. Well, I don't really know if they classify themselves as men, but listen, that ain't my business. All I'm saying, and no judgment, but all I'm saying is there are intricate details of a person's life that the average person just does not divulge to their employer. I don't care how much money you make. Certain things are off limits that you should not and will not be privy to. But that's just how I roll, right? Ooh, child.
I would F you. The lawsuit describes another occasion that Derek went to Tyler Perry's house, in which he says he went over to discuss his pilot, but he says that after getting there and drinking, Tyler allegedly told him to stand on his weight monitor in only his underwear. Derek agrees and gets on the weight monitor in only his underwear, and when he does, the lawsuit says that Tyler Perry asked him for a hug, and when they went to embrace, Tyler allegedly pulled down Derek's underwear and began grabbing, groping, and playing with Derek's behind. Derek,
providing that's true, that wasn't enough to walk away? Just asking for me and asking for a stranger. That wasn't enough to walk away. So the man done, according to you and your lawsuit and your statements, the man done groped your inner thigh, done laid in the bed with you. You jump out the bed, you asking what's going on, but you accept another role after that. You choose to still be in a position of solitude and isolation with this man, where it's just you and him. So he turns around, and according to you, this is the next time that he attempts to physically put his hands on you. And that wasn't, you didn't walk away after that? I don't know. We're gonna find out. We ain't got too much more to go. But I definitely, she summed up in 17 minutes, she summed up 46 pages. I can't do that. Not in 17 minutes. I can barely do that with her commentary and with her summarization. So shout out to this young lady here and her page. Give me 1 second. I want to shout out her page it's on Instagram. Give me 1 second, y'all. I got a lot going on over here. Okay. It is I'm Not a Lawyer. All run together. I'm Not a Lawyer. If you want to go sub up to her. I haven't listened to a lot of her commentary or her content, but from this, I'm impressed. I just got to say. Let's go.
Said he reached to pull his underwear back up, but when he did, Tyler told him to, quote, relax, let it happen, and that he wasn't going to hurt him. The lawsuit says that Derek was desperate to get away, so he told Tyler that he couldn't be intimate with him because he was hungry, which resulted in Tyler Perry stopping what he was doing and ordering a pizza. According to the lawsuit, this night ended with Derek sleeping on the floor in the bathroom because that door could lock and the main door to the bedroom could not. After that last encounter, Derek began ignoring Tyler Perry, and when he finally did answer him, Tyler was apologetic and blamed his behavior on testosterone supplements that he had been taking. And
Y'all, pray for me. Pray for your girl. So you sleeping on the bathroom floor. You didn't get an Uber and leave. You went from the bedroom because you couldn't lock that door, which I don't know why you can't lock bedroom doors in somebody's house. And you went into the bathroom and you slept on the bathroom floor. Ain't no way. And then he says to you, it's the testosterone supplements. Now, you've been wearing a dress for the past 25 years, but you taking testosterone supplements? Child, okay, I'm done. I listen. I digress. Let's go.
Text where they were referencing these supplements, Tyler says, quote, "I love how I feel right now, but I don't like being corny." Derek says, "Oh yeah, from the doctor, but is it making you feel better?" And then Tyler responds, quote, "I feel so good, but I don't like being corny. I feel sorry for the first person that flirts with me." Following this conversation about the supplements and Tyler apologizing for his behavior, the lawsuit says that Tyler attempted to continue making the situation better by inviting Derek on a yacht trip, promising Derek to make his pilot, and then later offering to invite a third person on this yacht trip to make sure that Derek felt comfortable. But according to the lawsuit, Derek refused this invitation and the two of them stopped speaking for 5 months.
Okay, so I stand corrected. This is when they stopped speaking for 5 months, was after the second physical interaction and alleged unwanted advance. Okay, so this, I like this. Okay, so he actually, after this, he made the decision to not speak with him. Let's see if it stayed that way and if the lawsuit was filed shortly thereafter, or if there was more engagement and interaction between the two.
At some point during this break of not talking, the lawsuit says that Derek was contacted by members of Tyler's team, who the lawsuit calls fixers, and they tell Derek that he's going to be getting a new storyline. He's going to be getting a $6,000 per episode raise that would continue to increase over the coming seasons, and he was told that Tyler Perry wanted to buy the rights to produce his pilot and planned to spend $1 million on the production for it. According to the lawsuit, after getting this offer, Derek bowed to the pressure and fear of losing his livelihood and decided to return to working with Tyler.
Okay, so we got our answer. He wanted to emphasize that he withstood the pressure, that he avoided contact for a certain amount of time, how he felt while all of this was going on, but then he bowed down to the pressure of losing his livelihood. Listen, I got a question. Now, this is a genuine question, y'all. Normally, I've had a job or two where I felt like, okay, I don't think this is going to work out, whether they feel it ain't going to work out or whether I feel it's not going to work out. But the first thing I do is look for another means of income, another line of employment, another company to work for, or to do it myself. I'm looking for other opportunities and other, and I never worked for Tyler Perry. Okay. Now, while all of this was going on, while he was, I know that it can be a dark place and he can be blackballed and all of that. But remember something. When he was found, he was working in an event center. He wasn't acting. He was doing something totally different. He should have that to fall back on. Maybe not for Tyler Perry's events per se, but he should still be able to embark and go back upon his trade that he had before he got pulled from that trade into the acting realm. So none of that rang or registered any type of bell for you to say, maybe I should look for something else. At this point, I already know what he's capable of. He's told me what he has done to others, what he will do to me if I'm not complicit and I don't comply and I don't give him. He's already said he's not feeling this is all alleged. He's not feeling the things that he's not feeling this reciprocated equally on an equal level. Whatever he's giving me, he doesn't feel like he's either appreciated or he's getting what he wants in return, right? So you, through all of that, this man absolutely, in your words, assaulted you. And because he increased the wages and redefined the contract, you stayed. I don't know. I just don't have a lot of sympathy for him at this point. When I first started to hear the details of the story, I was like, okay. And that was just his side. But then when the lawsuit was broken down, and these are his representatives, his words, and his story, just based off of his story alone, things ain't adding up. There are more questions than there are answers, and that's just my personal opinion. Let's go.
However, when he received the scripts for the new season of The Oval, he realized his grocery store clerk role had been transformed into a male prostitute being pursued by a pimp. Well, now that's a leap. And according to him, elements of this character and this pimp resembled the dynamic that he had with Tyler, even down to conversations that the two of them had previously had. At some point after this is all ramping back up, Derek and Tyler finally get on the phone and have a discussion about the last time they saw each other and the assault. According to the lawsuit, in that conversation, Tyler blamed Derek for what happened and told him he needed to have a, quote, stronger no. The text message that's included in the lawsuit that references this conversation is very blurry, but from what I can see, it appears to be Derek telling Tyler that he's moving to Santa Monica, and Tyler saying that Santa Monica is nice, I'm glad you're going out there, and then saying, how is your no? You gotta have a strong no. Derek's response is even harder for me to read, so I'll skip down to the next message that Tyler sends, and that one says, quote, well, I don't think that, but I think that you have to be able to say no and mean it and make it clear. Fast forwarding to December of 2023, the lawsuit says an actor by the name of Christian Keys, who had also worked with Tyler Perry, posted a video on social media detailing his abusive experience with an anonymous Hollywood billionaire. And based on that video and his description, Derek says that he believes the billionaire Christian was referencing is Tyler Perry. And according to the lawsuit, around the time that this Christian Keys video came out, Tyler Perry reached out to Derek, really pushing to get his show done and telling him he had plans to sell it to a network, which Derek says was really Tyler Perry trying to keep him quiet. However, after months of back and forth and Tyler telling Derek that the president of his company misplaced the $1 million that was going to go to his show, the suit says Derek eventually realized that Tyler was never going to make his show and he was doing all of this to buy his silence and string him along. So he took the step of reporting the harassment that he says he experienced to the EEOC, and then later quit his job where he was standing to make about $400,000 to avoid continuing to be harassed and assaulted. The lawsuit says when Tyler Perry found out about this, he told Derek that if he told other cast members why he was really quitting, he would be in breach of his contract. And so the two came to an agreement that Derek would say he was going on a medical leave due to the stress caused by the harassment, and that leave would be considered paid medical leave. But
Okay, so this is some stuff to unpack. First, I want to talk about the EEOC. So you can look at this from one or two different ways. If you are in support of and leaning on the side of Derek Dixon being more credible, he filed an official EEOC complaint in 2024, that was last year, indicating he went through formal channels, not just media exposure. So he did actually take another route and another port of reinforcement and support from another source from the EEOC. Lord, if you're from this sector, that name, that's a household name at this point, the EEOC. But I will say that hopefully this individual used it in an honest fashion or in an authentic fashion and utilize them for what they are able to do for you and for the purpose that they're intended for, right? So I just wanted to say that. And if you are leaning more towards the side of Tyler Perry, as of now, the EEOC, according to the media, has not confirmed any findings. And without that, it remains a claim, not a proven violation. So if you know anything about the EEOC, they give you different opportunities or different options, and there is a definite timeline, right? And in order for the person that the complaint is against to respond, to dispute, to countersue, or to counterclaim, there are different positions in place, but he did take the avenue of the EEOC. Now, according to what the document says, just to reiterate what she was speaking on, is that Tyler Perry offered initially, or there was, I don't know if it was an agreement or if he made the offer initially, I'm not 100% sure on that he would give him a medical leave. And originally it was supposed to be paid. But then my understanding is once he filed the EEOC claim, then it went unpaid and he fired him anyway. Or he went through the channels in order to get him off of the series at that point. So I want her to say it because I'm a little skewed on the timeline with certain things. There's so much information to unpack here, but she's read it, so let's go off of her.
Derek says Tyler retaliated against him for reporting the harassment by making that leave unpaid, resulting in Derek not receiving any additional payments after he left. And now he's suing for all of that and more. He has a few causes of action, and the first is for quid pro quo harassment, which basically alleges that Tyler Perry offered Derek roles on shows and they promised to film his show in exchange for Derek agreeing to and engaging with Tyler Perry's advances. The second cause of action is work environment harassment, which is pretty self-explanatory. Derek says that this harassment occurred on set and in trailers, and that's where they work. And then there's also assault, battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress, as well as retaliation, which has to do with Derek's claims that Tyler Perry ultimately decided not to pay him through that medical leave as retaliation for him reporting the harassment. And so that's the lawsuit, and we'll see what Tyler Perry has to say in his response.
Man, we got through that. I didn't know if I was gonna bore everybody or if I was gonna lose everybody's interest, because it seems like this is a lot of what's being spoken on these YouTube streets, right? But I definitely wanted to give my perspective. Now, he ended up not providing paid medical leave, right? And then according to Derek Dixon, he lost almost $400,000, right? Once his contract was canceled or whatever the case may be. But it's going to be interesting to see because we're very early in the stages of gaining information and in the early stages of this lawsuit that I'm sure there's going to be a lot of twists and turns, but I just wanted to bring my perspective. Now, I like what Brooklyn lady Ellie had to say. She said, there's no side in my opinion. They both knew what they were doing. I think I'm with you on that. They both had a lot to gain or a lot to lose, depending on how the narrative is swayed and who's listening, right? Because the court of public opinion matters at the end of the day. It is the people that support and make these celebrities. It's not the labels. It's not the people that signed them to the contracts. It's not the producers. It is the people that absolutely put them in the category and celebrate them as a celebrity in that position. And so if there's a court of public opinion and it's swayed enough, right, wrong, true, or false, that he is being dishonest, or he has been so secretive about his lifestyle, presenting it one way, being with the woman, having a child, yada, yada, but then he's been another way all this time, that is going to sway to the distrust of the people on behalf of Tyler Perry, right? So we don't really know we wouldn't know who Derek Dixon was without Tyler Perry. So at the end of the day, he can always go back to where he came from, and it probably wouldn't kill him. It would hurt his feelings, but it probably wouldn't kill him. But Tyler Perry, on the other hand, it's going to affect him differently, right? Now, I wanted to address this too, T. Smith. I believe that, and I believe they're going to come out at an exponential rate. And if Christian Keys was speaking on and shooting subliminals, and he was actually speaking on Tyler Perry, then he will probably clarify who that billionaire was at some point as well, unless the courts rule that he or that the person that he's suing can stay anonymous. I don't know the logistics of that. Law ain't my area or lane of expertise. I don't pretend to know, but what I will say is that I can guarantee you that a whole bunch of other people's getting ready to come out and getting ready to chime in. And so all you got to do again is look at history. Look at P Diddy. I think by week one, the end of week one of all of this information coming out with him and the lawsuit being filed, I think there were 50 additional lawsuits with 50 different additional women that have filed those lawsuits. So you could just kind of prepare for it and expect it to go with the territory. Right. So, y'all, I'm going to drop the link just for a few minutes to see if anybody wants to come up. I definitely would love to hear if anybody feels moved to share their opinion. I'm here all ears and to engage. So, otherwise, I just definitely want to, kind of touch on, we have to be mindful. At the end of the day, we have to be mindful. We have to be aware of the decisions we make. I keep saying, and I sound like a broken record, karma in 2025 ain't playing no games. I have seen people, I saw a guy on a bicycle shoot a driver of a car, even though I didn't see that the car did anything intentional. It might have scared him, or I didn't see it. What I did see is him shoot the driver of that vehicle a middle finger and then hit a pole, not even a half a second later. That was a reminder to me how quick karma comes around. Let God fight your battles. Unless he assigns you to participate in fighting your own. But all I got to say is that karma is not playing. When people speak on, I know we spoke on 2024 being a year of exposure, 2025 ain't no different. As a matter of fact, I think it's just a continuation of 2024. And we have to be mindful and we have to be definitely considerate of exactly our actions. And we can't always be so responsive, and we have to make the right decisions based on our moral compass. And hopefully, I would love to say all, but that's just not the case. Most of us have a moral compass or was raised with it. And when we stray from it, that's our own personal decision. And with that said, we got Ellie on the stage.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you so much, Jamie. This is
Yes.
amazing. I am a big fan of both the shows.
Mhm.
And I really think they both made conscious decisions over what they wanted.
Okay.
Everyone has heard of the casting couch ever since movies started. And if you choose to go on it, you choose it. You're going to go through a lot, but if you choose it, you choose it. And Tyler Perry was groomed by Oprah. And Oprah, from everything that's being said, was involved with Diddy and Weinstein. So there's a lot there.
I believe it's all connected. I haven't mentioned any other names because, sometimes when you convolute it by including other people, it gives people wiggle room and it gives people time to kind of deflect. But when you look in on the actual dynamic just between those two individuals, then you don't have to kind of spread your focus across the grid, right? But I totally agree with you. And I will say that I value your opinion because I haven't, up until recently, I haven't heard of either one of them. I heard of Ruthless. I've never watched it. I never heard of Oval. So I definitely
Ruthless is a spin-off of the Oval.
Say that
and
again.
Ruthless is a spin-off from the Oval.
Okay. Gotcha.
And it's about a character that was on the Oval named Ruth, who went and joined a cult. And part of joining that cult, you had to give up all your money and your kids, especially if they were daughters, because the cult is into sex trafficking. And the character who played that particular little girl's father was
Mm-hmm.
off the show for a long time. We never heard from him. Then there's another character from the Oval who played the president's daughter. We haven't heard from her either. Apparently, she was taken by the first lady's family, and she's in sort of like their own kind of concentration camp. So it could be they didn't want to deal with the casting couch and they were written off.
Do you know that nothing surprises me nowadays? I will
No,
say,
this isn't surprising either.
and that's the thing is like the unspoken has been loud for so long that it has had an opportunity, in my personal opinion, to normalize and
Right.
to become normal to where people don't seem super outraged. They don't seem super offended. We're even at a point where we overall culturally have come to a place where we are careful not to offend the alphabet community, when if you go off of the Bible scripture tells you off the rip and very explicitly that they do not condone, God does not condone man with man. But it's been so normalized
Mr.
that here
Keeney,
we
you're
are.
breaking up.
Oh, am I? Can y'all hear us? Can you put a one in the chat
Yeah.
if I'm coming through? Can you hear me now, Ellie?
Yes.
Hello, you
And
can
it
hear
could be
me?
possible the little girl, yes, the
Okay.
little girl who played this daughter that I was talking about, who went to Ruthless, they just blew her up on the show. So it could be possible the parents weren't willing to give her up, so they got her off the show. I'm not
Right.
surprised at anything in Hollywood anymore.
No, neither am I. Speaking of which, do you have a couple minutes to hang out? I just want to add this real quick.
Sure, thank you.
Okay. All right, let's watch this. So, but actually, let me do, because I like to do intros. Let's just zoom out for a minute. This ain't the first time someone in the entertainment world has hinted at Tyler Perry's behind the scenes behavior. And this is in relation to what we're speaking on. And I'm not just talking about tabloids or blog culture, I'm talking about Katt Williams. Okay, so about a year ago,
You're
of course,
breaking up again, Miss
am I?
Akimi.
Okay, all right. So hold on a
It could
second.
be street
Yeah, I think it's StreamYard because my signal is good, but I don't
because
want
StreamYard does this when I do my movie reactions,
to.
and it does that.
Well, it's just me and you. I haven't put anything up.
I know, but it's still. I think StreamYards is changing their stuff,
Mm-hmm.
and while they're trying to improve on some things to entice people to pay for them, other things are falling by the wayside.
Well, I'm a paid customer, so I shouldn't be having. If that's the case, I shouldn't be having no issues
You
with.
shouldn't. But like with what we're talking about now, they probably want more money, so they're trying to make more improvements.
I see. Okay. Well, that could be possible because again, my Wi-Fi signal is very strong and it doesn't show any lagging in it. But while you can hear me, I want to add this.
You can't play a man to save their life. They play good women, and I believe that the best actor should be in the best role. We put too much pressure on Tyler Perry. You know what I mean? He ain't put nobody on. The people that been in his productions, they not famous. All of them could walk through the mall without security. Be what you gonna be, but put your people on. If you a gay person and you in there, put some other gay people on. Put somebody on. Or don't be wondering why people keep saying gatekeepers, because clearly y'all are keeping these gates. Clearly.
He's
So let's break this.
100%
Yes, let's break this down, Miss Ellie, real quick. So Kat didn't just criticize the Medea persona. He also implied that Tyler Perry was a figurehead used by Hollywood to reinforce certain roles. Basically, he made it okay for those to come behind him, like Martin Lawrence, like Kevin, what's his name? Kevin,
Heart?
look, yes, Kevin Hart, and many others, right? Even what's the wrestler's name? The weightlifter, the one that Kevin Hart is best friends with or was for a long period
The
of time.
Rock?
Yes, he's been videotaped wearing a dress. Once I saw him, I said,
Dwayne
"This is
Johnson?
yes. You got to look at
I
it's
never saw
available."
that.
He
Ooh.
did. He got a whole dancing clip in a dress. Okay, I'm not gonna show it on my channel, but it's out there for the seeking because I've seen it with my own eyes. Right. So while he was Perry was a figurehead used by Hollywood to enforce certain roles while covering up others. So I heard Kwame speak this earlier today about how if he was a woman, he would have been offended because it seems like a lot of the roles that Tyler Perry storylines that he puts out in his movies and his series is always about the diary of a mad black woman, a disgruntled woman, a struggling woman. When we have women
Yeah.
that are in prestigious positions that he doesn't seem to highlight, and definitely not nearly as much. And he even alluded to the idea that Perry's success may have come with behind the scene bargains, which is not at this point a secret to those that know, right? So, but people in the industry
Hmm.
definitely whisper about what you say.
Well, Katt Williams was right. On those two shows, and I also watch Sisters, which I think is his. I'm not sure All the Queen's Men is his, and I'm surprised that Concierge had dealings with him. But they're nobodies.
Mm-hmm.
If you go for somebody who's well known, it might be harder to do this stuff to them. And Darnell Jones, it may be more financially appealing to not go through SAG, just go straight for the money.
Yes.
Which this actor who plays Dale cannot act. He is honestly like the male version of Anna Nicole Smith.
Mm.
When he acts as Dale on the show, it's very awkward. It's not free flowing. He's not believable as an actor.
Okay.
And he has been on this show for a long time, and the show's been on for 6 seasons, which is 6 years.
That's the
So
Oval. That's been on
yes,
6 seasons. Okay.
yes. And it could be Tyler Perry doesn't want to use him anymore, so now he's pitching a fit. Hi, Ann.
Mm. Hey, Miss Ann. Shout out to the
I
chat.
saw this with the Michael Jackson stuff. Those two kids, once they couldn't get any more jobs from the Jackson family, that's when they brought this out. I'm not saying stuff didn't happen. I'm just saying that's a very big coincidence. And Oprah jumped on the bandwagon and everything else.
Mm. Yeah, her name seems to always be tied into the foolishness, in my opinion, when it comes to being linked with very high profile, whether they're celebrities, whether they're pastors. She's very well connected, but yet and still
Very.
her name reverberates, but there's hardly any um, scandal that's directly attached to her name, but it's attached to everybody around her. It seems like everybody that she has been connected with and that she has made her relationship proud and public with, they all going through something. So what does that say?
She is considered to be the Black Barbara Walters.
Mm-hmm.
And there's more to it than just her celebrity, her fame, her reporting. It's been alleged Barbara Walters used to bring white girls to the bigwigs, like Harvey Weinstein and whatever. Oprah's been accused of doing that kind of stuff too.
Yes.
And it seems like most in Hollywood are all connected to this, even with the politicians.
Mm. And you know everybody but Katt Williams and a few
Yes,
others,
to
right?
part.
Say that again. You cut
Katt
out, Ellie.
Williams won't do it.
No, he won't, and neither
I'm sorry,
will.
Katt Williams won't do it.
He won't. Well, Dave Chappelle won't either.
And apparently Jamie Foxx stopped, which is why those actors that stop have had problems.
Yes. Yes. Now this is all alleged, YouTube, but this is what I want to say. In this past video, this most recent video we just watched, Katt wasn't just throwing shade, he was flagging a pattern, which is what I spoke on at the beginning of the video, where it actually prompted me to speak on this topic when it comes to Tyler Perry, because the pattern seems like it's just become all too familiar. And in an industry that often silences accusers and protects power, and these celebrities move in that very fashion, this statement now serves as kind of, in my opinion, a foreshadowing. So it has
It's a script.
absolutely, it was like a prophet in the industry to say this is what you need to look out for. And the fact that the same issues, you got sexual coercion, you got promises of fame, you got retaliation, now all are in legal documents. To me, that just speaks volumes.
And they still get away with it.
Yep.
And even if they don't and it stops for a little while, they can make a comeback.
Yes. They've got the
But look
money
at
to do it.
Epstein. Epstein cannot make a comeback. That Virginia girl who was the main one calling out these elite politicians, how come she's gone now?
Right. That's right.
So there is more involved than just Hollywood. Hollywood's just like a branch of that family tree. You've got to take down the whole tree and get the roots up and burn it all. But it's so well put in place and, like I said, scripted, that they're figuring if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just get rid of the ones that are breaking off.
Facts. Very, very, very true. And I agree with Takara, echoing exactly what you
Yes.
say. That anyone else that tries to inform us, whether it's Monique, look at all of the, my goodness, look at the blackballing.
And
Corey
people,
Holcomb, Orlando
a lot of
Brown.
people don't like Jaguar Wright.
I
But a
love
lot
Jack.
of things Jaguar Wright has said coincides with all this other stuff. I haven't found her to be wrong yet.
And I can't substantiate everything that she said, but she's definitely credible in my opinion. She is definitely
Yes.
one that has come out to be more truthful than unfounded, right? Her statements. And you can tell she's, whether people believe her or not, she believes her. You can
Yes.
tell she's very passionate and very forthcoming. And she always seems to have a response, no matter who is interviewing her, asking her questions. Inquiring minds want to know. She is on the money as if she was there.
She was there. She's even said it. She joined some of those parties because she wanted to. She
Mhm.
was well aware of what would happen, and she chose to. But when she started to step away a little and call them out a little, that's when she claims her career went down the tubes.
Yes. Yep. Not just that, but her life has been threatened, according to her, on many of occasions. She has to
Yeah.
move differently. She has to, now, and I've seen her like in the sector, in the Kwame Brown sector. I have seen her, or not just even maybe in other sectors too, because I've seen her all over, hit different people's panels that I don't know if they did it for content, for ratings, or if they did it because they were truly intrigued and interested in her truth and what she had to speak on as if it were her truth. There are a lot of them backstabbed her, a lot of it. So now she's become so conscious that she's pushing her own page, and she has limited herself because she was, bumping up people's pages,
Yes.
making appearances, doing it for free just to get the truth and the word out. And it just seems like no matter where she goes, she's attacked.
And you don't know, these other places that she was going on may have been offered something they couldn't refuse and figured, well, let's throw her to the wolves.
Come on. Come on. You can't discount that. You
And
can't discount.
everything you said, I think, is all wrapped up into it. It's
Mhm.
not just one thing or another thing, it's all the things.
I
And it's
agree.
so well in place, I don't think it's ever going to stop.
Well, the only way it's going to stop, looking at it from a carnal standpoint, is once the people stop supporting those that are out here doing all this foolishness.
Well,
I
they'll
don't
just
think you
move
should be
on. Why?
in the Bible.
Why was
The Bible.
Jay-Z and Beyonce wanting to get into country music?
Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation.
They're
Listen,
trying to branch out. So it's something that will never end.
now it may not end for the sector or the niche that they're branching off into, because they're master marketers, especially together and collectively. But what I'm saying is that no matter what group of music, entertainment, acting, whatever is encompassed in Hollywood, if the people cut off the support, like me personally, and I'm just going to use this as one example. There is no way I would pay $800 to go see anybody live in concert when I can get a better picture on YouTube
No.
after the concert is over. Paying $60, $80 for parking, or paying $100 for an Uber, having to navigate through all of those people. We're living in a time where people are trigger happy and people are shooting in crowds. Ain't no way. Ain't no way. But then you have many
No.
people out there that are willing to support that are willing to pay those prices. How do you think these people get wealthy? They get wealthy through the people, because the record labels get wealthy through the people, and then they get their cut. But once that faucet has been shut down and shut off, and that line has been cut, then that's the only way they're going to. But as you said, I'll believe it when I see it.
I think it's more intricate than that.
Okay.
You know, YouTube could be a part of it too. Remember back with the days of when CB19 first started?
Mm-hmm.
Anytime a video mentioned it, they'd smack something on the video. If you say something they don't like, they'll take your video down. If you're established and you say something about the elites they don't like, they'll take your channel away. So it's not just supporting Hollywood, it's whatever you do.
Point taken. I agree with that to an extent. I'm just thinking of it from the conversation and keeping it in context of what we're speaking on with this case, with and
Mhm.
cases like it, because there is definitely a pattern. There is repetition. And again, the game doesn't seem to change, or the recourse doesn't seem to change.
It's
It's like
just the players.
it's just it. The names. That's it. That's the only thing that seems to make a difference in the or make a variance in the story. And it's just, I don't know. All we can do is vocalize it, and do our part personally. We don't have control over everything collectively. And at the end of the day, I believe everything will be in God's timing. I have faith in it, and I truly believe that in my soul and in my spirit.
Yes,
And that's what I rock
because
with.
people are waking up.
Say that. Say that, Miss Ellie.
It's slow going like most stuff, but people are waking up.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. To the point where you can't flag every page that's speaking
No.
on this. You got a whole bunch of content creators, speaking of YouTube specifically, um, speaking on the topic and giving their commentary and their personal opinions and having open panels and comments from their subscribers and all of that, but they can't take everybody off. So if enough of us wake up and speak on it and do it without fear, then maybe that will provoke change. And like you said, it may be slow, it may not be. God is the ruler over all things, so anything is possible.
Yes.
And at the end of the day, that's what I hold on to. But, just trying to stay obedient and stay aware, especially if you have children, if you have grandchildren, nieces and nephews, the upcoming generation. A lot of them speak on not being able to rely on their elders, not trusting them, not relying on their wisdom, if they, or the amount of wisdom they may have. But the ones that are out here, if it means we got to work harder, then that's what we got to do. But it definitely has to be said, and it has to be reverberated at the end of the day.
Well, like this case, this actor didn't want to work hard.
Sounds
I
like it.
really believe I really believe he was promised the dream, and when he didn't get it, he's now retaliating. Like, well, I did my part, where's my profit?
And that's
And
not,
what he has to understand is they will screw you over if they so choose to do so.
and they have the means and the avenues to do it, and you don't even realize that that's what's happening because you're coming from your place, but they've been dealing, especially like if you look at all the years. I remember, I think the first time I watched Medea, one of the productions, the plays when with Medea, I was in my late 20s. So that's been a while, and
Right.
he look how he's evolved and how he has his own production company. He has all that acreage in Atlanta for his studios. He has his own corporation.
Privacy.
Um, yeah, definitely. Hmm.
So like they got rid of Epstein. They're getting rid of Diddy.
Allegedly.
At so
Allegedly. So according to them, they say he
allegedly
committed
they want to
suicide.
get rid of Jay-Z.
Yes.
Now allegedly it's Tyler Perry. They will keep cutting off the dead branches or what they consider to be dead branches. As long as the tree stays whole, it can keep growing new branches.
Correct. In theory, but I will say, and I want to reiterate because words are powerful, that if the people can come together as a collective unit more than not, then they can take care of that tree. Because again, the support comes from the people. Now, I will say this, and I people can agree or disagree with me, but it is a proper pecking order, right? And I say that with all due
Yes.
respect. You have the elders that have the responsibility and the obligation to inform it, no matter whether people feel, the younger generation feels we're antiquated, we're old fashioned, we out of date, we out of touch, we don't know what's going on, but we still have enough life and experience under us that the younger generation don't have. So they're not going to look at it through the same lens and not have enough information to compile than the elders that processed, utilized, and reiterated properly. Right. So
Right.
the
And what's
pecking
being
order.
nurtured is the elders don't know what they're talking about. They're old. That's being nurtured in the media, in TikTok videos, YouTube videos, the movies, the music. And that is all a form of brainwashing.
It is
So,
because
even though
oh,
you'll have a bunch of people who are willing to cut down that tree, even people who claim they're willing to cut down that tree might say, well, hold on, wait a minute. How can I use this tree to my advantage? That's why I think it's never going to end. Things may change a little, but at the core, it's still going to be there. And I could be wrong. I'm a pessimist,
mhm.
but
Well, I love it because I'm an optimist, and
yes, you are.
that
Very much
brings
so. And you are needed.
that brings
You are
balance.
needed to counteract the pessimism, which it seems like there's way more pessimism than optimism.
And that's by design. I see that. It's
Yes.
by design. And that's why I refuse to acquiesce to, let me tell you, I've been getting hit with bombs left and right that could easily make me a pessimist. And I know that that's the goal because of my stance and my viewpoint on everything. I believe in affirmations. I believe in optimism. I believe in being solution oriented. I believe in to so much so to the point where I get called fake all the time. Can't nobody be that positive all the damn time. No, I'm not. But when I come on
No,
this
stop it. You
platform, it
try.
is my obligation and my duty to be
Yes.
positive and to provide that balance because I'm amidst so much negativity and, like you said, so much pessimism to the point where I have to be. I can't subject myself or put myself in a position to get drawn in. And then what? Where's the balance? We have to maintain balance. It takes the what is the female and the male. There's a term. I'm at a loss for
The
my
yin
words
yang.
today. The yin and the come on with it, Ellie. The yin and the yang. You can't have
It's
too
like
much of
good and
either one.
evil. You can't have just all good and no evil. Apparently, we need evil to test us, and a lot of us fail the test.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, there has to be balance. And that's what I believe that going back to the topic that Katt Williams, people like Dave Chappelle, people
Mhm.
like Christian Keys, people like what's the guy, oh my God, that said the light skinned guy, Terrence Howard, people like him that buck up against the system. They don't even buck up, they just say, I choose not to be a part of it. I just choose not to participate in the rituals and the ritualistic behavior that is required in order to gain earthly riches because I am not an earthly being. And so it that has to happen in order to not have the entire population consumed that follows people like the celebrities, Hollywood, music industry, acting industry,
Right.
even the plays. I stopped going to play. I used to love to go to production plays, live plays, sit in the balcony. I used to love to do that until I became aware and awake of exactly like the messages that it pushes, looking at all of the symbolism. It's even there. It's in all different types of music. You just have to kind of separate yourself and
Right.
look inward and say, this is what resonates inside of me without the predictive programming, without the installing of certain systems into your psyche. I got a son that's graduating high school this year, and
Oh, that's
listen,
great.
thank you so much. I appreciate that. It has been a struggle to give him the balance of not being consumed in the prison or the school to prison pipeline, and to re-implement the critical thinking that is required, or that was required of us. He doesn't even use, and I love this about him, he doesn't even use systems like AI, Chat GPT, and all of that. He uses his brain. He figures it out on his own. And so many of the children that accompany him and that he convenes with do not. It's not being taught. I talked to his principal this morning to get his transcript so we can start applying to certain colleges. And the principal said they don't even teach punctuation anymore.
No.
ACT scores, SAT scores have gone down because they're still testing on these things, but they're not a priority in the curriculum. And I say all of
It's
that
like
to
with the
say,
Trayvon Martin trial, that girl that was on the stand, I forget her name. There's no way she can read handwriting. She can only read text. Well, that's
yeah,
a problem. You have to teach that. But they're taking it away, and that's gonna dumb down a lot of people.
they took I'm sorry for the glass on glass, y'all. I'm drinking
Oh,
ice
that's
water.
fine. That's
I
fine.
know, but it could be annoying
That always
because it's hot and I gotta stay hydrated behind these lights
right.
back here. But like with my son, they took cursive out when he was in kindergarten in his school district. And I had to teach him how to write cursive. And
Yes.
he's one of the only students in his class that knows how to write cursive. It's crazy because they want to take your identity and your individual signature, the uniqueness. They want everything to
My
be
son was the
uniform and
only son
across the
was the
board.
only kid in his class at one point
Mm-hmm.
who could read an analog clock.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody else could only read the digital.
Ain't that something?
And I'm like, why are you taking this stuff away? Because anything can happen. The internet could be taken away for whatever reason, and then we have to rely on battery operated clocks and whatever. And what if those are the only ones that are left?
Mm-hmm.
How are the kids going to tell time? They don't even teach sundials in science class anymore.
No, and I keep one of those in my home specifically for that reason. Cause and if you look, like I'm surprised to see that on my iPhone, on my screensaver, they actually have the sundial. That was a
Mhm.
default. When you know how you charge your phone to the side and you prop it up, the
Right.
sundial came up as far as the clock goes. So I was extremely surprised to see that because all you see is digital numbers, just like the banking system. They want to eliminate currency and everything goes
Right.
to on the screen. You got to log in on a number system. I don't know. We could go down that rabbit hole. I'm telling you, it goes deep. We'll do more lives about this, Ellie. Now that we've connected on the panel, I would love to have you up more so we can, because you are very knowledgeable, and I think we have
Thank
a
you.
great chemistry on panel to be able to definitely bounce. This is my lane. I love things that a lot of people consider conspiracy theorists, but the times that we're living in is showing that conspiracy theories that were considered as such 10, 15, 20 years ago, we're
They're true
living in
now.
it now. We're living in it. Hmm.
I mean, it's like they keep saying Trump is Hitler, but who actually worked for Hitler? George Soros. And Soros has a lot to do with all the behind the scenes stuff that's going on. He was like Hitler's accountant or something.
Interesting. It's interesting. Good to know. Well, we're gonna definitely chop it up on that. I totally forgot about the poll, y'all. I don't even know if y'all can still see the poll because I haven't closed it yet. But at the beginning of the live stream, I had put a poll up that says, "Was Katt Williams right about Tyler Perry?" So I'm going to end it now and then give the results, and then we can go ahead and close this thing on out because I don't want to wear out my welcome, at least not on
Thank you
today.
so much for letting me up, Miss Akimi. I'm gonna get down and let you do what you gotta do.
Well, I appreciate you coming up and I love the conversation. And thank you for being here, Ms. Ellie. Have a wonderful rest of your day.
You too.
Okay, thank you. All right, y'all. So, listen, was Katt Williams right about Tyler Perry? 70%, 57 votes say 70% said yes, he was warning us. 19% said Katt always exposes Hollywood. We had 8% that said maybe but needs more proof. And then 1% said no, just his opinion. So I appreciate that because I was curious as to, again, this was over a year ago, right? So I was just curious as to see how that played into everything that's actually transpiring as we speak. So I just definitely wanted to, I wanted to tap in. I kind of felt some type of way because I was like, man, I know I scheduled this live before, other people covered the topic. Do I really want to do the live? Is it going to sound like a repeat performance? Is, people going to hear the same thing over and over again? So I'm glad that I did because it definitely, you never know who you may reach. And I didn't know what I was going to say. I'm just going to be honest. I knew I had my context and my little videos and all of that, but I wanted to be in real time with it, and I wanted to give an authentic reaction and experience. So I appreciate, and I'm glad that I went on ahead and did the live, and I appreciate everybody that pulled up, that came through. My moderators, I love y'all. Appreciate y'all. The people that engaged in the chat, that typed in the chat, I appreciate y'all just as equally. I'm very grateful. Definitely. Come on with it, Takara. Informative warnings before destruction. Pay attention, right? Oh, thank you, Joy Joy. I appreciate you. And thank you for becoming a member. I really, really do appreciate you. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you were able to listen and ride. I do that quite often, and it gets me through my day, even though I'm not able to type in the chat. I'm extremely grateful, right? So thank you so much. I appreciate y'all. Thank you, Takara. I appreciate you, appreciate you, appreciate. I can't say it enough. And I know I've said it enough. I'm wearing it out. So I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop, right? So thank y'all for coming through. I appreciate everybody's participation. And that's all I got, y'all. So until I see y'all next time or in the next chat or through the next live, for those that are catching the replay, if you just don't mind, or everybody, hit the like button. And for those that are catching the replay, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Memberships are also available, and definitely put your notifications to all, because I don't have a set schedule where I go live. I will be subjected to do it early in the morning or late in the evening. Just depends on how my schedule allows me, because my life is full. And YouTube, not knocking anybody that this is their primary source, of their job or their employment. I really got a lot going on outside of YouTube. So I appreciate everybody, and I will see y'all in the next chat. Peace.